The sun was warm and friendly on this beautiful Friday, August 1st, 2025. The sky was a perfect blue with only a few fluffy white clouds drifting slowly by. A gentle breeze moved through the trees, making the leaves dance and whisper soft songs. In a quiet neighborhood, in a small backyard, the world felt safe and peaceful. The air smelled sweet, a mix of freshly cut grass and blooming flowers. A big, strong oak tree stood in one corner, its branches reaching out like protective arms. Under the tree, a small blue plastic pool held a few inches of cool water, just waiting for a happy splash. A red ball and a yellow toy truck were left on the grass, signs of a child's recent game. The sounds of the afternoon were soft and comforting. Birds chirped their cheerful songs from the branches of the oak tree. The gentle rustle of leaves in the wind added to the peaceful music of the day. Here, in this sunny backyard, everything was right. In the middle of this peaceful scene was a young mother named Sarah. She was sitting in a comfortable garden chair, a book resting in her lap. Her attention was on her little girl, a 1-year-old toddler named Lily. Lily was her whole world. The little girl had bright, curious eyes and a smile that could make any day better. Lily was busy on the soft grass, a tiny explorer in a big green world. She wore a bright pink dress that made her look like a little flower. She crawled from one spot to another, her small hands touching everything with wonder. For Lily, the backyard was a huge adventure. Her mother smiled, watching the pure joy of her child's simple explorations. Not far from Lily was the family's loyal dog, Max. Max was a beautiful German shepherd, with a thick coat of brown and black fur. He was lying in the shade of the big oak tree, his head resting on his paws. His eyes were half closed, but he was not sleeping. Max was more than just a pet, he was a guardian. Sometimes Lily would crawl over to Max and gently pull on his soft fur. Max would just lift his head and give her a gentle lick on the cheek, making her laugh. They were best friends, a little girl and her big furry protector. Suddenly, the peaceful music of the afternoon was interrupted by a new sound. It was a quiet, almost silent movement in the tall grass near the back fence. A long, dark shape began to move out from the shadows of the bushes. The shape was a snake. It was not just any snake, it was a king cobra, one of the most venomous snakes in the world. Its skin was a dark, glossy brown, and it was thick and powerful. It lifted its head, its black, beady eyes scanning the yard. The cobra was far from its natural home, perhaps disturbed from a nearby field. It saw the open, sunny yard as a new territory to explore. The snake moved slowly toward the center of the yard. It was drawn by the movement of the small child playing on the grass. To the cobra, the little girl was not a person. She was just a source of motion and warmth, something to be investigated. The deadly creature was now only a few feet away from the innocent toddler, and nobody had seen it yet. The perfect afternoon was on the edge of becoming a nightmare. Max, the German shepherd, was the first to sense the danger. His ears, which had been relaxed, suddenly stood straight up. His body, which had been loose and calm, became tense and rigid. He lifted his head from his paws, his dark eyes wide and focused. He did not see the snake at first, but he smelled it. A strange, unfamiliar scent had entered his territory, and his instincts screamed that it was a threat. His nose twitched, and a low, deep growl started in his chest. He stood up quickly, his muscles tight and ready. He was no longer a sleepy family pet. He was a guardian, a soldier on high alert. He moved silently, placing himself between the resting Sarah and the playing Lily. His eyes scanned the yard, searching for the source of the danger he could feel so strongly. Then he saw it, the dark, slithering shape in the grass near his precious little girl. Max's growl became louder, a clear warning. Sarah heard Max's growl and looked up from her phone, confused. She saw him standing stiffly, his fur raised along his back, staring intently at something near Lily. Her heart jumped into her throat. She followed his gaze, and then she saw it too. The snake. A wave of pure terror washed over her. Max was not a specially trained guard dog. He had not been taught to fight snakes or protect people in a formal way. His bravery came from a much deeper place. Max was a rescue dog. The family had adopted him from a local animal shelter 2 years earlier. When they first met him, he was a shy, scared animal. He had been found wandering the streets, thin and alone. No one knew his full story, but it was clear he had not had an easy start in life. The family, especially Sarah, worked patiently with Max. They gave him a warm bed, good food, and most importantly, they gave him love. Slowly, Max began to change. His fear was replaced by trust. His shyness turned into a deep, quiet loyalty. He learned what it meant to have a home. He learned what it meant to be loved. In return, he gave his family his whole heart. His bond with Lily was especially strong. He was her gentle giant, her constant companion. His courage was born from gratitude. The backyard became a stage for a terrifying dance. The cobra, surprised by the sudden charge of the large dog, rose up. It spread its famous hood, a clear sign of aggression. Max stood his ground, barking furiously. He was a wall of fur and fury, refusing to let the snake get any closer to Lily. The standoff was incredibly tense. Max and the cobra were locked in a dangerous battle of wills. Max would dart forward, then jump back, trying to scare the snake away. Sarah, finally breaking free from her fear, screamed and ran towards Lily. She scooped her crying daughter into her arms and ran back towards the safety of the house. Her heart was pounding like a drum, but her baby was safe. Max continued his brave fight. He was trying to herd the snake, to push it back towards the fence and away from the house. For a moment it seemed to be working. The cobra started to retreat, slithering backwards, but then, in a flash of movement too quick to see, the snake struck. It lunged forward and bit Max on his front leg. Max yelped in pain, a sharp cry that cut through the air. Despite the searing pain from the venomous bite, Max lunged at the snake one last time. The cobra, having used its bite, finally turned and fled. Sarah ran from the house, her mind racing with panic and gratitude. She knelt beside Max, her hands trembling. She could see the 2 small puncture wounds on his leg, and the area was already starting to swell. Max looked up at her, his eyes full of pain but also full of love. He licked her hand weakly as if to tell her that he was okay, but he was not okay. His breathing was becoming shallow and he was starting to shake. Sarah knew she had to act fast. She called her husband, her voice choked with tears, telling him to meet her at the veterinary hospital. With the help of a neighbor, they carefully lifted the large dog into the back of her car. The drive to the vet was the longest drive of Sarah's life. She kept looking back at Max, talking to him, telling him to hold on. "You're a good boy, Max," she repeated over and over again. "You're a hero, please just hold on." Max was fading. His eyes were closed and his body was limp. The poison was working quickly, shutting down his systems. Sarah prayed with all her heart, begging for a miracle for the dog who had so bravely saved her child. At the veterinary hospital, a team was waiting. They rushed Max into the emergency room immediately. While Max was fighting for his life, his incredible story began to spread. A neighbor had captured part of the dramatic rescue on their phone's camera. The short video showed Max bravely standing between Lily and the cobra. The family, wanting to share Max's heroism, posted the video online. They also started a fundraising page to help with the expensive vet bills. They never expected what would happen next. The story exploded. It was shared thousands, then millions of times on social media. News channels from all over the country and then from around the world picked up the story. "Hero Dog Saves Toddler from Deadly Cobra" was the headline on websites and television screens everywhere. People were deeply touched by Max's courage and loyalty. Donations poured in to help pay for Max's medical care. The family quickly raised more than enough money to cover the bills. They were overwhelmed by the kindness of strangers. People sent messages of support, drawings from their children, and even toys for Max to have when he recovered. The local animal shelter where Max had been adopted was flooded with inquiries. People inspired by Max's story wanted to adopt their own rescue dogs, hoping to find a hero of their own. Max's bravery was inspiring a wave of compassion. After 2 long days, the good news finally came. Max was going to make it. The anti-venom had worked, and his body had started to heal. He was still very weak, but he was out of danger. When Sarah and her family were finally allowed to see him, it was a very emotional moment. Max, hearing their voices, lifted his head and wagged his tail weakly. He was their hero, and he was coming home. The journey to full recovery would be slow, but the important thing was that he was alive. When Max finally returned home, he was greeted like the hero he was. The neighbors lined the street to welcome him back. He walked with a slight limp, and he was much thinner, but his spirit was strong. The first thing he did was go to Lily and give her a gentle lick on the face. Their special bond was stronger than ever. Max had faced death to protect her, and his love for his family was now a legendary tale. He was living proof that you don't need special training to be a hero, you just need a loving heart. Max's story serves as a powerful reminder of the incredible courage that dogs possess. They are not just pets, they are members of our families. They offer us their unconditional love and, as Max showed, their unwavering protection. His story touched so many people because it spoke to a universal truth. The bond between a human and a dog is one of the most special relationships on Earth. It is a bond built on trust, loyalty, and a love that asks for nothing in return.